Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformation. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good afternoon and evening, and welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I'm your host, the resilient implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 70 countries, such as the United States, Canada, all across Europe. I want to welcome Australia, Brazil, and Japan. So I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformation moment that changed our lives and how we use it to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Network Tuesday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community, and I ask that you subscribe wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, FM, Overcast, Radio Public, Castbox, the Himalaya app, Spotify, and the Google Play Music app. So I want to thank you for subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcast authors, basically amazing people who are impacting the world around them. And my guest today does just that. If you have any questions for any of the guests during our live broadcast, you can call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please welcome to the show my dude, my guest, my boy, Cauveé. What is up, my friend?
What's going on, champion? We blessed and abundant over here.
Oh, man. Bro, let me tell you what. I am super pumped to have you on the show, my friend, because you have not only an incredible story, but something very different than what I have normally had on the show. And we had many talks about it. I love what you're doing. And, dude, you're freaking rocking it, man. I love it.
Dude, I really appreciate it, man. It's been a long time coming. I know, we have been connected through Facebook and had always just been in each other's circles and been able to go deeper over time. And it's just such a pleasure and an honor to be here on Life Transformation Radio and to really serve our audience today with, my story as far as it's not important. My story as far as just the story itself is important for people to be able to take some of the lessons and the principles and things that I've learned so that they can go out and transform and really be who they want to be in purpose. So, again, I'm super excited as well.
For sure. And you know what was funny was that I was speaking over the Outlier Podcast Festival back in May, and you and I had talked for the better part of a year. I mean, we connected for quite a while, just kind of posting in groups and answering each other's stuff, kind of posting each other's posts, and, just kind of chit-chat back and forth, pumping each other up, getting each other excited. Hey, I'm heading to Austin doing this, and then and it was like, wait, bro, like, what's up? Like, we saw each other, it was like, holy crap. It was so cool because we already cultivated a relationship on social, and then we had spent the whole time just kind of hanging out, talking, catching up, like all that stuff, like we had been friends forever.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how that manifested, right? I think we get so caught in this digital world, and we get so caught with funnels and all these, great, they work, things that work as far as this digital media goes, but there's never going to be anything that replaces a true relationship. And when you connect with someone in person, when you build in person, it just really deepens that relationship, whether it's a partner type of relationship or whether it's the process of grooming, a client or a potential client for that matter. So I think that was it was wonderful how that worked out. Like you said, we'd already cultivated that relationship, and it just made it that much more natural or that much more easy to build. And I encourage a lot of people, like, go out there in the world, right? Go out to events and connect with your audience, because that's where your audience is. So, yeah, that was amazing.
For sure, man. So, dude, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm ready to get down dirty with this episode, my friend. So the title of this episode is Engineering Inspiration with speaker and entrepreneur, my boy, Cauveé. He is an inspiration engineer with quite a unique story. Unlike most success stories, Cauveé had success early on. He began his journey as a musician by the name Artistic. This rapper-producer combo became locally famous, and at age 18, for selling his high school auditorium at a headline self-promoted concert of 1,209 people. Unfortunately for Cauveé, his high school was not willing to compensate this achievement. While attempting to replicate his success at Ball State University, his sophomore concert flopped, selling 333 tickets out of 3,500, sending him spiraling into debt and depression. However, Cauveé never quits. After finding comfortability speaking and performing in front of audiences, he has honed his stage presence at Toastmasters International. He acquired additional skills from some of the biggest corporate brands while actively pursuing his dreams, entertaining on a plethora of stages. The entrepreneur was launched with his first company, an entertainment company, while serving as an enrollment counselor at the University of Phoenix. As the counselor, Cauveé helped a young woman graduate with an associate's degree, which ignited his passion to help others find fulfillment. After many failed projects, Cauveé transitioned into an inspiration engineer. More than just a lifestyle coach, Cauveé taught one of his first pupils the principle of relationship acquisition, a.k.a. social selling, at Cauveé Global. This student became the #1 sales rep at Zillow, a $5 billion company, and breaking 6 figures in revenue. Lastly, Cauveé is also a leading contributor for Huffington Post and Influensive. To learn more, go to Cauveé, Cauveee, Cauveé.com, and then you can look at all of his Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter is all just at Cauveé. So go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter and connect with him and let him know that you heard him here, Life Transformation Radio. So, my dude, first question I have for you is why? What is your deep why for what you do?
My why started and it has evolved around because they said you can't. And it's a really funny story. I would tell people that my dad would give me these hero speeches, right? Like I'm in the 6th grade, 7th grade, means I'm like, 8, 9 years old, somewhere around there. And my dad's like, you can be anything you want to be. You can do what you want to do. Like the world is yours. And I started mentoring with one of those artists that you hear about who write a famous song and then a celebrity basically steals the record. And so when I was in the studio, I was hitting buttons, making sounds, making noises, putting my poetry to, at that time I was a poet, so putting my poetry to music. And I around that time I said, man, I absolutely love this. Like singing in the studio, like this is just fun. And so then I go back to my dad and I'm like, Dad, like I figured out what I'm going to be. And he's like all excited. He's like, what is it, son? What are you going to do with your life? And I was like, I'm going to be a musician. And he goes, don't do that. I was like, what do you mean don't do that? Like,
he's like, no.
I can be anything, right? And so, I would say, me and Gary Vee, we really align on that. Like when somebody tells you what you can't do or when you're quote unquote losing, right? That's what they say. It gives you that fuel and it gives you that burn and it gives you that passion. So that was where my why originated. And then as it's evolved, my why is to serve 3 billion people because what's happening, Sean, to be honest, is that dreams are dying. I had great parents and I got that message. So think about the kids who don't have parents or the kids who got, shady teachers or coaches out there that are telling them, and programming them with these limiting beliefs that you can't have the dream that you want to have. So think about how many Steven Spielbergs and Kanye West and, Sean Douglases that are out there that got these amazing talents and they never blossom. So I'm here. My purpose, my why is to break them free from those limitations.
Sure, man. Gee, there's so many people that I talk to that are, no, maybe they won't. Like, no, I don't know. and they're like second guessing themselves, and they're putting their dream on hold because somebody said, "Nope, can't do it. It'll never happen. It's too hard." That, man, I'm going all out. Like, I want people to second guess me. I want people to. I want people to just be like spit on me. You know what I'm saying? Because then
Absolutely.
what's going to happen is I'm going to come up and they're not even going to see it. They're not even going to see me coming and be like, what happened with this guy? Like, sleeping on me, son. Sleeping on me.
Well,
like, don't ever
right?
underestimate me ever.
Ever. It's funny. 2 quick stories real quick is that, one, I had a gentleman sit me down about 5 years ago, one of the top people to know in Austin. He comes from Silicon Valley, venture capital, like that kind of world. And so we were meeting within our first 3 meetings, and, he sits me down and he goes, Cauveé, personal brands will never be fundable. And I was like, oh, challenge accepted. So I went and watched the documentary, Something Ventured, which talks about how venture capital became a thing. And so now fast forward 5 years later, we're having conversations, that same guy where he wants to see under the Cauveé hood, and we're talking equity, right? Where they want to now see, like, how can they get equity in what we're doing, which is just interesting how that manifests. And then another really interesting story, and that's usually how it goes. People will doubt you at first, and then when you're winning, then they want to be a part of it. Like, that's how it always goes. And then just a really quick, interesting story I want to share, because I think it's not just the people that have those fears that I want to talk to in this moment. There's people that are successful. My friend Shelly, her mother she left like corporate America to go do her dream, right? And she's doing her dream, and she's making money. She's making good money, like almost the same salary she was making before she quit. And so, long story short, all her friends and her peers, now we're talking about women in their, 45 to maybe 62 years of age. So all her peers are like, what are you doing? Like, you're crazy. Like, how could you leave this stable, job? You had benefits. You had all these things. And she's running a successful business, Sean. And she ends up quitting and leaving her successful business, making the same amount of money to go back to corporate America, all because of that peer pressure. So it's not just people that, haven't gotten started that are being disadvantaged by not going for the dream. There's people that are doing the dream that are, leaving it because of these types of pressures. So, yeah, if you're in it and people are telling you can't, know that that's a part of the process and go for it anyway. Like Sean said, I'm going all out, and Cauveé is too.
Boom. Nailed it. So what is the moment that turned Cauveé around? What was that transformational moment, that spark that put you on the path to what you're doing today?
So I would say there was 3 different sparks, right? The first spark gave me an ego out of this world. And I want you to imagine being 18 years old, right? You're 18. You're in an auditorium, a theater of 1,200 people, and actually 1,209 show up. And I'm backstage, right? And I hear the chants of my name. And as you said in the bio, my old name was artistic. So it's like, and it's growing. Dude, I felt like Russell Crowe in Gladiator. If you guys have seen that movie, like, are you not insane? Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And so, that moment in itself told me that anything is possible, because I'm locally famous at the age of 18. And even though I didn't make money, to have that kind of influence on a small city in Indiana was like no other, right? The second moment was when the sophomore concert flopped, right? Like we did the PR better. We did everything better. The whole campus knew about it. When you went to bsu.edu to log in to your student portal, like, my face was literally at the home screen. Like, I mean, it was crazy. And so that had never been done before by any I wasn't a part of no fraternity or, type of organization or anything like that. So being that concert sold 333 tickets out of 3,500 tickets, right, I immediately dropped out of school because I felt betrayed by the school. Now, why I didn't go back to school or, get back into another college and just transfer, I don't know, but I didn't. And so that was like, it set that seed in me of bitterness and depression. And then as you were talking about in 2010, when I helped a student. I'll never forget, her name was Melissa Briscoe. She had some major challenges to get her associate's degree so she could go into the education program and get licensed to be a teacher. She had to leave her family behind to go do this. She had to leave her husband behind to go do this. And when I mean leave him behind, she had to go to another state to get licensed. So she had like tremendous, hurdles to go through. And as an enrollment counselor that was there to not only hold her hand and help her overcome those fears on the front end, then, to be there as a support system on the back end and then watch her get her degree, that next to that first concert was like, oh my God, it was the most gratifying experience. And actually, I'll throw one last one in there because one just came to me. I had been in sales for now to this day, 19 years. And so they talk about 10,000 hours of mastery. And so I had never trained somebody, right? I never trained somebody on what I knew. And so when I worked with our first student, Alex, for Cauveé Creative and really teaching him what I knew, and he sold a product I never sold before, but it was kind of a test for me, that was awesome as well, like to help somebody hit a six-figure goal and you've never had another student before. That was super dope. So those four experiences, I say, have definitely made me who I am.
Dude, I love it, man. Taking your why and taking your transformation, combining those into what you're accomplishing today, how are you setting the bar? How are you working with people and elevating each life around you based on your why and based on your transformational moments?
I think it's twofold. I think on the surface, right, people will, hear some music, motivation music is about to release here, or they'll come across some content, a quote, or something that kind of inspires them, and that's on the surface, right? And I think we all have these surface layered, connections or opportunities. But once we get deeper into, the majority of us have a goal that we're trying to accomplish. And what's cool as a strategist, because that's really what I am at the heart of everything, I'm a strategy guy. And so being able to give people these amazing strategies that can, 10x their business. I met a guy just the other day at this event who was selling hair-based products, like building funnels for people that sell hair. And so I was like, have you heard about this hair conference in Atlanta? I was like, I don't even remember the name of it. I was like, but it's huge. It's like a global conference. And he's like, no, I haven't. So I go on Google, I Google the conference right here. I was like, here it is right here. I said, what I would do if I was you, I said, I would buy a shirt, go ahead and put quotes with a face of all your clients on your shirt of how much you've helped them generate in revenue. I said, just wear that shirt and go to the conference. I was like, dude, you're going to kill it in business. He was like, oh, my God, I love that idea. And he just went off, right? And so being able to do that, and that's where it goes deep. And so then, he shot me a recommendation, but there's a lot of things that can come from that, right? That's a potential not only friend, right, our family, but that's potential as far as clients, there's a potential as a student, that's a potential music fan. So there's a lot of ways that just from those types of engagements and giving someone value, that it can be leveraged. And I don't say leverage in a bad way. I think people, when they hear leverage, they think exploited. And I'm never about exploitation. I tell everybody relationships drive revenue. Relationships are at the heart of it. So just by serving and doing these kinds of things, it compounds and it comes back to me. So that's really how it deepens to my why.
Dude, relationship is huge, man. I mean, look it up. We started on Facebook just kind of BSing back and forth and pumping each other up. And, oh, yeah, man, keep going. Woo, congratulations, for all our success and supporting each other and all that stuff. And then we met in Austin. I was like, holy crap, what's up, dude? And then we had a conversation. Now here we are on the show. It wasn't like we met yesterday and now you're on the show.
Right? Yeah. You've been a huge part of our success, right? Just the students that you coach and the strategies and the things that you deliver and that you give, and you're such a giving person with so much value. I mean, that it all enables us to do what we do, right? And we're learning from the greats like yourself. So again, it is funny how it started from the woohoo, rock, yeah, and now we're here. So you're exactly right.
Boom. Where do you see yourself going, man? What is new or exciting or something that you're working on that's going to take you into the next year?
Yeah, what's really exciting, we've got a few things going right now. We're really building out our PR branding, getting a lot more coverage. So you're going to see Cauveé on some very high credible sites real soon, which is super dope. We've really been working the conference space. We've got a couple conferences that are interested in hosting us, and that's super exciting. And I'd say the third thing that's like, man, like a whole nother level. We've got a contract right now that is pending, which is $400,000 contract. And when we kind of talked about this on a call, for us to get like all of our production equipment and get everything like tightened within Cauveé Studios. So that is really exciting because now we'll be able to create much higher quality content much faster, and people will start being able to see a lot of these production ideas that have been, sitting for the right time. There's this. I want to talk about this really quickly. There's the Gary Vee philosophy out there that says, "Get content, get it out, get it out, get it out." And sometimes that is the right strategy. But then on the other side, me and one of my mentors, and Sean, you and I both know Jay. Jay had this interesting conversation. When you're a producer that can produce TV quality, or you can produce like that second concert. I mean, that was a full production, right? Like movie screen comes down from the auditorium, blacked out the auditorium. You got dancers on the left, dancers on the right. Sparks is flying. When you can produce at that level, then you don't want to just put out something that is way below the standard. So sometimes you've got to know the right timing, and so that's really what this third opportunity allows us to do, is deliver much higher production. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because it's an interesting conversation.
Dude, I love it, man. My first business I ever built in 2004 was an entertainment company. Positioning everything inside of that entertainment, man. Positioning is everything.
Everything.
The one marketing I always used, and it stuck with me even as a speaker. The one marketing that I always use is that you're not producing summits or conferences or concerts or an event. You're not producing that. That's not your job. Your job is to produce an experience. People buy experiences. And I did a full keynote on this at an event for some customer service people. The people aren't coming to you because you have amazing customer service. You just happen to make products. You just happen to have great products sale or systems or whatever. Having a great customer service just layers on that. But what you've done is you've created an amazing customer experience. You ever walked into like a movie theater? You walk into a movie theater, people are kind of rude at the counters, probably 16 or 17-year-old kid make your popcorn for you. You go to watch your movie and you're out. That's
right.
Done. Experience over. Probably not great, probably not the best, probably not the worst. However, if you go to a place called San Antonio, Texas, and you go to a place called the Alamo Draft House, you can walk in, buy your tickets. They have a store. You can buy things like action figures and things about the movie and whatever. You walk to the movie, and it's not a movie theater. It's dinner and a movie. You sit there, and you order a beer, and you order pizza. You order like all of your food, and then they bring it to you. Completely different experience.
Absolutely.
Two of the same moments. I am going to a movie theater. Two exact processes, two exact moments, very different experience. One is you get your own stuff, you sit down, watch your movie, get out. The other one is you are served in rocking chairs and recliners. Like, why is not every movie theater doing this? Just like Chuck E. Cheese and Six Flags and every theme park across America. Like, all you're not a roller coaster park. You're not a family fun park. You're selling experiences. That's all you're doing. People who I have had the most amount of fun with at concerts are people who put on amazing experiences. Like going to Panic and watching her fly across the room, and her whole concert is like that. Like, it's just incredible. That's why, like, Korn and Rob Zombie and Limp Bizkit, Ozfest, and the Family Values Tour, and all the concerts that I went to in the late 90s, early 2000s were so impressive. They had fire. and robots, and it was just like, what is this? Sorcery, you know? And so create that experience for people, and they'll keep coming back.
Absolutely. The experience is what people buy. I mean, the experience really, and that's what we noticed, Sean, to be honest, is a lot of these guys, you know, from the Tony Robbins to the Eric Thomases to, you know, you name it, they are really edutainers, right? I mean, they're coming out with this concert-like experience. There's the laser lights, and there's the sticks, and, you know, getting everybody jumping up and yelling these chants and doing the whole thing. It's a concert. But we don't classify it that way. Like, we don't look at it that way. But it is that experience. I mean, that's what really sets, you know, those types of people apart. And that's really what I wanted to create was, you know, using my music background and using the things that I've done in that world and bringing it into this other world and create, you know, something new. And that is what people buy. People buy the experience full circle. And it's not just the concert in-person experience, people. It's the experience you deliver when you're on a podcast. It's the experience you deliver in your written content. It's always the experience. So always be thinking about, you know, how is this person going to absorb the content that you're creating for them, and what is their experience? And if you can up your experience, you know, the experience process for your prospect or your client, that's how they become brand advocates. And everybody wants brand advocates, right?
Oh, yeah. I want to go back to what that guy said. I want to go back to that moment where that guy was like, people aren't going to invest in personal brand. Companies don't do, you know, whatever. He must have missed the train or missed the memo or really didn't understand that that's how it's always been. When a company is starting to spin their sales, they hire people like $5 footlong guy who is subsequently now in prison for almost life. The guy who lost weight from eating the sandwiches, he became the face of the company. Then you've got a guy. What's that? Oh man, I had his face just now. He is like the face of the brand, like a lot of different brands, and he's a DJ Khaled. That dude is all over a lot of brands, and they pay him a lot of money, and he represents a lot of brands. That's what brands are doing.
Absolutely, and always
literally, that's literally what brands are doing. If you look like The Rock, if you follow The Rock on Insta, he literally posted on there, "Hey guys, really super pumped. I'm partnering with Voss Water. I'll be the face of Voss." That's huge.
Huge.
Brands, companies are learning that you need a face. Just like Nike. Nike has always used somebody to promote their stuff. Look at Madden. The Madden always had an NFL player on the front of their stuff. All the basketball games, most video games, most sports video games have a player as they're the face of the game. That's it. That's the game.
I think what he's saying is that, you know, you've got, from what I've found, it's just like these companies that are trying to get caught up with how they communicate or how they treat their culture. And I call it these dinosaur brands, right? These brands have been around forever that, you know, are at the top of the food chain. No disrespect to these dinosaurs out there, but they're trying to get caught up, right? And so what I think he's saying is, you know, venture capitalists, angel investors don't invest in a person. And I think there's a model that needs to be created for someone who's an influencer, right? Because if you're an influencer and you've got different revenue streams on your personal brand, then that's exactly what you're naming right now, which is these sponsored deals, right? These sponsored deals. I don't recall, and I'm sure there's someone out there, like, you know, and there's an interesting story really quick as my mind just hit me with this thought, you know, like Oprah Winfrey was making $25,000 a year. And then the next year, she launched the Oprah Winfrey Network, right? And so there's a missing story as to how that came to be. So I do believe that there are people out there that have gotten, whether it's a bank loan or some kind of, financing to build their brand. And I think there's a missing framework for angel investors and venture capitalists to invest into a personal brand, and I see that manifest. But there's so many different investment platform ideas now, like when you think about like these acorns, I'm sure you've probably seen like Stash, where it's like, you can invest $1 in like Apple and all these different things. It's like there's all these new ways of creating revenue, right? And I think I understand in the principle of what he was saying. But again, you can either, when you're telling your dreams to a small-minded person, there's a saying that I love that says, if you want your dreams to be shot down, tell it to a small mind. And you got to realize that there's only a few people trying to go to Mars, right? Like if you have these grandiose visions, not everybody's going to be able to talk with you on an Elon Musk level. And so, I didn't take any offense to it. I just said, okay, then either, I'm going to find the model that's out there, or I'm going to build it. I mean, it's just that simple. Either I'm going to find it or I'm going to build it. So, basically my philosophy is always, do you want to be a part of it when the time comes or not? And if they do, then cool. If they don't, keep it moving and show them. And like you said, go crush it, go all in, go all out. So that's how I think about it.
Yeah, man. What I find fascinating is the buying habits of those that are those VCs and the people who are investing in different companies. And a lot of people have different formulas. Over time, what's the equity? I don't know. What's the, and somebody had offered me some equity in like a speaker bureau. And I was considering it. It's like having equity in it. I'm like, okay. And then, you get a percentage of, of the business revenue. I get it. A lot of different ways to do that. I think that I'd rather be more hands-on it rather than just get some equity and, whatever. Because all it takes is one decision for it to implode or one decision for it to grow. Like Elon Musk making one decision to keep on going, to keep building those rockets and not give up and not give up and not give up. And then a usable rocket was created. Everybody said it can't be done. He could have just taken an equity in something, and kind of just built his own software and did his own things. And, he could have just taken the equity in something and said, whatever, I'll just latch on to you. I would much rather keep building, keep restructuring, keep growing, and have them come back and go, see, told you it could be done. I'll find a way. I think more gratification in doing that.
Absolutely. I had said this quote, I don't know where it came from. It just came out of me one day about 2015, 2016. But the quote was, it said, I don't make excuses, I just make pivots. Yeah. And if you think about that, that's really all it is, right? I mean, when we get taught failure as kids, and like, okay, this is an A, this is an S, failure. And it's really like, no, that's a lesson. Now I just learned one way not to do that. So, they usually will talk about like Benjamin Franklin and 1,000 light bulbs or whatever, right? But that's really what it is. Like, I just found another way. So now I just need to pivot from what doesn't work. Now I need to try something else out. And that's exactly what Elon and anybody else is going to do. They're just going to keep doing it until it works. And eventually, like Steve Harvey says, he says, if you jump, you take the jump. I was playing basically. He says one day the parachute has to open. And basically God's not going to let you just hit the ground. Like, the parachute's going to open one day. So, yeah, you just keep doing it until it works. Eventually it will. But you've got to be willing, I think, to be resilient enough and persevering enough to go through all the pain along the way, because there's going to be a lot of pain, and that is a guarantee. So that's what I would tell people if they're hesitant. Since you brought up the hesitancy on someone not to go forward, that would be what I would say to get over that.
Yep, absolutely. What I really enjoy about you is the inspiration that just comes. We've had conversations where you're like, I think I'm going to do that, and this is kind of where I see it going, whatever, and then I might say something, and you're like, okay, well, what if I did it this way, taking what you're doing, I'm doing this, that, combine this, you know, tighten that, loosen that, move this, delete that, add that. Like it's always like this one piece here, like a puzzle fitting things. Nope, doesn't fit. This fits. Cool. It works. Now roll with it. But I love the inspiration that in our conversation, we started off kind of small. Oh yeah, we're gonna do it this way, or yeah, I'm like, what about this? Have you thought about actually what I could do? And then all of a sudden it's like skyrocket, and then we're off on this tangent down this rabbit hole, and then we've come up with something completely different. Like, love that.
That's how it goes, man. There's a saying. I think once you know your value, right? Like people will hear me say, like I'm working on a deal of that size, as I was saying, like $400,000. Like it's not really that far fetched. Like people get so caught up in the numbers, and it's like, dude, it's like once you've done the principle. Like when I was doing degrees, right? I was selling a $40,000 to $60,000 degree that somebody doesn't get for 4 years, right? That's a much harder sale. It's like at least with this return, we're going to see ROI much sooner. But it does. It just evolves. And I love that quote by Bruce Lee where he says, he says, be like water, my friend. He said, water can flow and it can create.
Yep.
You just flow, right? You just flow with the water. You just flow. And I think naturally, ideas and as you build character, as you persevere and build character, your I guess if we want to call it the threshold, the threshold of what you believe you can accomplish will expand. And as you expand, it will expand. And then you evolve into these new opportunities that you never thought could manifest before. That's what I found, at least.
Heck yeah, man. If someone wanted to work with you, where do they find you? What do they work with you for? And what kinds of things would you guys work on? And kind of what's your process?
Yeah. So you can, as you were saying earlier, you can reach me on any platform that's your best platform. So whoever is listening and you're like, man, I love to, connect with Cauveé on, Snapchat. Like I'm there. The only one I would say I'm not on as much is Pinterest. Like I'm not very active on Pinterest.
Yeah.
But everything else. And I just got on TikTok for my TikTok people out there. So, so my process is really I go through a discovery process through what the needs are, right? And the people that seek me out usually seek me out for a few things. So they'll seek me out for personal branding types of things, like how to market, how to sell. I get here recently, I've been getting a lot of inquiries for like building recruiting teams. And that's not really what I do, but I can help you because we've built an amazing process as far as building, startup teams and things of that nature. So it depends. The framework around what they need depends around that need. But what I can tell you as far as my framework, that the principle that is the same, I go into an interview process with no expectations, right? I'm going to ask them the right questions. I'm going to ask you the right questions to really understand what is going on. One of those questions is going to be, what's your annual revenue? Like, how much are you making this year? Okay, got it. And then where do you want to go? So in order to know where we're going, right, we've got to build a roadmap. So a lot of my questions is going to be, let's start at the end goal. What is the goal you want? Okay, got it. And then let's reverse engineer that backwards. And where are you at today? And then once I have that information, then we're going to put a plan in place to get there. And so that's usually what I do. The last thing that I didn't mention, I do have some people coming to me for, speaking. They want to learn like, okay, well, how do I be a public speaker? How do I, get on stage? How do I, speak? I've never done that before. And so then we go through a little different framework because now we got to master your signature talk and like giving that talk and that whole jazz. But that's usually what people seek me out for. I'd say most common.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. Tell us, as we start to wind the show down, tell the listeners what it means to be an inspiration engineer.
Well, it's a great question. It's a funny story. So inspiration engineer, first off, was not chosen, right? It was not chosen by me. That's first and foremost. I had 10 different titles that I chose, or that I had that the community chose. But this is how it kind of came to be. So when you speak multiple languages, nobody gets confused by that, right? It's like I speak French, Italian, Spanish, English, whatever, right? Nobody's confused. But when you have a bunch of skills that don't all complement one another, then the world gets confused, right? Now, there's a saying out there, and this is the first thing I want to touch on. First off, there's two sayings. There's the jack of all trades is the master of none. That's on the left side of the spectrum. Then on the right side of the spectrum, there is the more value you have, the more value you can create for others, which are skills. Yep. So what happened was, I started as a poet. Then I became a salesman. Then I became a marketer. Then I became a public speaker. Then I became an audio engineer. Then I became a rapper, then a singer, then a producer, then an event producer, then an event organizer. And these are all the things that I was doing for myself, right? Then I started mastering on social media. So what would happen would be I would go to the Chamber of Commerce, and when I met people, I would tell them basically what they wanted to hear. And so they'd be like, what do you do? And I'd be a salesman if we were talking about sales. If I was talking to a marketer, I was a marketer. And I started feeling like I am lying to these people. Like I'm not being authentic. I'm not being genuine. And so I didn't fit in this box, and that's what the world will do. The world will try to put you into a box. And so long story short, I came up with 10 different titles that I was like, okay, I'm going to create my own title. I'm going to create my own branding. I'm going to create my own thing because I don't fit in a box. And then we'll go from there. And so Inspiration Engineer, there was two, and I don't even remember what the other two the community voted down to, but it was Inspiration Engineer and the other one, and then they chose, and it was like Inspiration Engineer is what it is. And then as I started playing with it, I was like, man, that kind of sounds like a car brand. Like you see Audi and then you see Inspiration Engineering. I was like, oh, that's sexy. I love it. then I became an Inspiration Engineer, and this is what we do.
Very cool, man. I like how you listened to the people around you and didn't say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do, and suck it up. Like, I really like that you kind of took the time to listen to the people around you, take it all into consideration. Because people find out that, oh, well, I'm actually giving something that really nobody cares about. Crap. Because they didn't take the time to listen to those around them to get a pulse on their market or solve a big problem. And the bigger the problem, the higher the fees you can command.
Right.
And most people don't take the time to listen to their audience.
Hands down, that's one thing real quick. I know we're winding down, but I want to make sure that the listeners get this like right away. When you build an MVP, a minimum viable product, you want to go get 1,000 or more different people to survey and try that out, right? Which gives you data and feedback. So if you're not listening to your audience, you're only doing yourself a disservice because when people vote and you have 100 voters or 1,000 voters, that tells you if they're polling on a certain subject matter or what they like or whatever, you get to validate that idea. And so that was huge for me. Inspiration Engineer, honestly, was not the title that I was leaning with. And so when they chose, I was like, that's interesting. And there was enough people to make me see and understand, like, okay, Cauveé, you don't have all the best ideas in the world, right? None of them do. Right. So you want to be able to get that community insight. And if you're not doing that, you're only hurting yourself.
Perfect. Here's what I want to do. I want to give you the moment to do a shameless plug. You can plug your website, programs, product, services, friends, Facebook, whatever it is you want us to know and to do. Shamelessly plug. Go.
Go. I love it. So reach out to me at Cauveé.com. That's CAUVEE.com. It's CAUVEE on all platforms. So whatever you're struggling with, whatever you have questions about, be sure to connect with me. And I want to leave you with this. I tell everybody it's my acronym. Be dope. Dope is the acronym. Driven on priority, optimistic, practical, and execution-oriented. It's your boy, Cauveé. I love y'all. I appreciate you. Sean, thank you so much for having me on the show. And until the next time, boom.
It's like you curse this a lot.
I have. It just comes with it. It just comes with the territory. It just flows out of me. It's like I've been saying that so long. It just goes. I just love it.
For real, right? For real, right? I was like, because I wrote my script for my show. I'm like, I wonder how long it'll take me to customize that, my own flavor on it, and so it was a funny story, man. I was a instructor for basic training from 9 to 13, and I had a flight that was gang. I mean, they didn't listen to nobody. I like beds, do this, march, and all that, and they just kind of messed up everything. It was a hot mess express, and man, it took everything to get this group going, group of guys. It's about halfway through basic training, and I'm screaming at them, whatever, and I don't know where it even came from. I must have heard something somewhere. I don't remember. I don't even talk like this. I'm tired of y'all. Tired of y'all acting all stupid and foolish. You guys have no swizzle. I put some swizzle on it. And they're like marching like crap and like all this. I mean, I'm going off, going crazy. Everyone's like staring at me like, what the hell are you talking about? And so we were out on the pad one day, a couple days later, and I was like, man, you ain't got no swizzle. Let me show y'all. And I started like strutting, like I was marching and like showing them how to do the face movements and stuff like that. I was like, you gotta have that swizzle, son. I swear to you, like stuck. It's stuck. And then they put it on a flight T-shirt, and that was like our motto. And that was the one thing that they all understood. Like when I said put some swizzle on it, it was almost like they transformed into, you know what I mean? So when you put your little swizzle right on what you say, it becomes you, becomes a part of you, becomes, it outwardly becomes a reflection of you, and so a lot of times I'll tell people like, I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it. I got no swizzle, man. I got nothing from what you just said, but you, man, I felt it. Like, like I felt it.
Look, I know we're rapping, but I got to share this because it's funny, right? Cauveé was actually my middle name. Cauveé was actually my middle name, and it goes back to the whole community idea. So I hated it. I hated it my entire life. It sounded like it was French, and I'm not French, and it sounded like something you would get at Starbucks, to be honest, right? Like, I don't want a coffee. I don't want a cappuccino. Can I get a venti Cauveé? Like, that's what it sounds like.
Oh.
So being that I hated it, this band I was living with for a year, they found out my name, and they were on me for 3 months to change my name. All right, if you guys want to get the story, I posted it on Facebook, so just go on Facebook. But anyway, the story's out there. So, yeah, they're like, you need to change your name. They're adamant about changing my name. So finally I start, like, listening, like, okay, you're being hard-headed, let's change the name. And when I changed the name, I was talking to a guy on Facebook Messenger, and I was like, all right, man, I'll talk to you next time, brother. Boost. And I just thought of coffee. Like, it's caffeinated, right? It gives you a boost of energy. And he goes, Boost. And I just was like, wow. Like, he just said it back to me. Like, okay. And Boost was here, and it was here to stay. Because who does that? Who says that back? And now, obviously, I've had many people, when they get off a call with me, they're like, Boost. And they get excited. So, yeah, that's the swizzle, Boost. It's now out there. Y'all got to use that. Use that, but know who the originators are when you use it, right? That's how that goes.
Bro, the next person I see, I would be like, what's up, boy? Boost. And they'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm going to grab my coffee from like Starbucks. Like, let me get a venti cappuccino, extra caramel with caramel drizzle. And when I grab it, they'll be like, 5. I'm like, thanks. Boost. And then they'll be like, what the hell? Like, that's so funny.
Listen, if you say it with those thoughts, that is exactly what's going to happen. If you go into it with the thought of, when I say it, I'm going to say it with swizzle, and they're going to say it back. Like, they're going to know that it's a closeout, right? It's like, instead of saying bye, you need to do it on a phone call, right? You're on a call with somebody. You're like, man, I'll see you next time, man. I love you, bro. I appreciate you. All right, now, cool. Boost. And then they'll be like, boost, Sean. Like, let's go. That's how you end the call. I'm trying to tell you.
My buddy's got a Nissan Skyline, and I'm going to go ask him to jump in his car let's go for a drive, man. And when he hits the gas, I'm going to go, boo. Watch the turbo spoon. Be like, boo. I'm just going to yell it.
Sean, you're going to innovate.
I'm going to Facebook Live it. I'm going to Facebook Live it. It's a done deal.
You're going to take it and make it go viral because you're going to do some things that people are not heard boost on.
I'm going to do some stupid.
Then it's going to be a viral thing.
It's going to be amazing. It's gonna be like, you ever seen that damn Daniel video?
Mm-mm.
Oh, my
I don't think
Lord.
so.
All right, bro, let me listen to this. 2 kids, like 16 years old. This kid wears Vans. So Daniel always wears Vans. His boy took out a phone and had a 45-second video go like 5 million views wide on YouTube. And all he says is, damn Daniel. That's all this dude does. And it's literally a highlight reel of him showing off Vans. He like just flips out and the guy goes, damn Daniel. And then he has a white pair of Vans and he's like, oh, Daniel with the white Vans. And it goes back to a black Vans and he's like, damn Daniel, looking good. And he's all at school with a backpack on, you know. And then he has a pair of white Vans and he's like, damn Daniel, back with the white Vans. And he did that for 47 seconds. They were just on Ellen not too long ago. Ellen surprised them with Vans coming out and giving them a sponsorship to wear their clothes and wear their shoes and make their damn Daniel videos. These kids.
I believe it. That's how it works. That's how it works. Hey, when I get coffee sponsored, you will know. There's going to be a coffee brand that is listening to this right now, and they're going to be like,
right.
Yeah, let me go ahead and make a drink called the Cauveé, and let's go ahead and reach out for a sponsorship. And when they do, I'm going to say, I would love to. Boost.
Dude, I can see the commercial now. It's you in a park, tying your shoe, checking your phone, checking your watch, sipping on a cup, and then someone walks over to you with another cup, like, yo, you got coffee? Like, no, I got Cauveé. And then music hits. I got Cauveé.
Let's go. Coffee friends, coffee beans, hit me up. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Y'all just heard the pitch right there. Let's get it done.
Listening right now that has a coffee business, Black Rifle Coffee, or somebody's listening right now that has a connection to coffee brands, coffee beans, coffee company, something, reach out and get a hold of Cauveé, because coffee is great. But Cauveé sounds like you said that with confliction. You said it with some conviction. Like, I got Cauveé. Boost. And then right cup it just says boost. And with the, you know what I'm saying? Boost.
We need
and that's the name of a drink. The Boost.
The Boost.
Boom.
There it is.
There it is. We're marketing it.
Who's
Patented right here. Coffee companies, coffee beans, coffee whoever's. Like, you better contact Cauveé right now before someone snatches him up and it goes viral. Boost.
Stamp it. Damn it. I love it.
Oh, God.
You're going to keep saying it. I'm telling you, you're going to keep saying it.
It's going to grow on me.
It's part of your language. It's just going to
grow on me. Oh, man. Oh, man. Bro, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's been absolutely amazing. We are live right now with the inspiration engineer himself, entrepreneur, speaker, Cauveé. If anything resonated with you, contact him on his Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. He is everywhere you want to be. Cauveé, my boy, my dude, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, thank you, Sean. It's been a pleasure. Talk to y'all soon. Boom.
Good God. It's just like, it's just amazing. Like, I am loving it. It's just like amazing now. Like, see ya. Boost. Like, it's like, what? What was that one thing that people used to say whenever they used to leave? It wasn't like goodbye. Like it was like every like 90s movie you saw, it was like they would say something, said some kind of catchphrase. They would have some kind of like I'm out. That's like I'm out. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye. It was always like I'm out. See ya. Out. Oh, and then the new cell phone commercial. There was bye. Like,
Bye.
like,
Right.
Bye. Dude, now saying boost.
Boost has a lot more. You got to say it with your gut and say it with a lot more punch. Don't say it with that bye. Nah, that's too. You gotta
be like have a heart, like say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. Tell the heart. Exactly. Yeah.
Give it to us one more time. Give it to us one more time.
Boost.
Love it, my boy. Thank you so much, man. Life Transformation Radio listening. If anything resonated with you and what you heard on today's episode of Life Transformation Radio, please contact Cauveé today, and you can just see from the episode, you can feel his conviction. You can feel inspiration bursting through his veins. So contact him if any questions whatsoever about being a speaker, being an entrepreneur, getting into what he's doing in an entertainment company. Contact him, have a conversation. You will not regret it. Go to Cauveé, Cauveé.com and connect with him and let him know that you heard him on Life Transformation Radio. And with that, please subscribe wherever you are comfortable listening to podcasts. Hit the subscribe button. Never miss an episode. As I close, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.